By the end of this video, I'll have given you 5 new techniques to never stop being creative with your writing. If any of these work for you, then you may consider subscribing for more videos like this. Let me know if this story sounds familiar to you. You pick up your guitar, you sit down at your computer, open your door, empty screen, but nothing. Nothing comes out. Except it's not really nothing, it's just nothing good enough, right? If I told you to just record something, you could probably come up with an idea, right? It might suck, but it's unlikely you can't come up with anything at all. You're just struggling to come up with something that's good enough, right? This first method is just going to involve you recording anything. Doesn't matter if it's good enough, doesn't matter if it sucks, and you're not going to care about how good it is. Yeah. Once you've got the idea down, just analyze it. What can you do better? Can you finish the riff in a cooler way? Maybe there are different notes that you can use which will sound better. It's much easier to build on something that you've got down already than to come up with something from scratch completely. So just record something, analyze it, what can you do better, record a new version, and repeat this process until most likely you've got something that sounds cool. I think the best way to analyze your ideas is just what if questions. You know, what if I change the end of this riff? What if I reverse the part that I've just played? What if I use this riff as a lead line? Whatever it is. Often the what ifs will sound stupid, but you may as well try them out, because even if that's not the idea that you use, there might be another idea in there that you can hear that you might want to take forward. So as a step-by-step process, record, analyze, re-record, repeat. You might be skeptical about this one because on the surface, it just sounds like I'm trying to get you to copy your favorite song, but I want to give you a different perspective on this. When you write music in a specific style, essentially you're imitating songs already in that style, right? So imitating in itself isn't bad, it's the way that you imitate, and I want to talk about that. If you listen to your favorite song and you steal your favorite riff from it, that's not going to work. But if you hear a cool part in a song and you try and analyze what did they do cool there and how can you do something similar in your own songs, you can end up with a really unique result. This works especially well if you're drawing from music that's not really connected to what you're trying to produce in the end. So for example, 9 or 10 years ago, I started making music with electronic dance music. So when I started playing metal, I had a completely different perspective on things I could do to the music to try and add more or be more creative with it. The best songs are rarely written by one person alone. Even if you do the bulk of your writing alone, you need to have someone to give you solid feedback that you can rely on. When we were writing our album, news on that shortly, there were countless times where one of us would come up with an idea and then the other person would hear something in that idea that we hadn't heard, and we'd build on that and keep going back and forth with the idea until it's turned into something that was much cooler than what was originally proposed. So I think having someone who can listen to your ideas and help you build on them is a massive boost to creative output. If you need someone to listen to your ideas or your tracks, I offer free song reviews and you can find more about that in the description. Sometimes the best way to force the creativity is to just narrow down your options. If I were to tell you to write a track using only 3 notes, you'd be able to come up with something within 10 minutes. It wouldn't be great, in fact it'd probably be awful, but you'd have a complete idea. If we were to go a bit less extreme, you at the very least need to have a clear intention for your writing. This will stop you getting overwhelmed with the idea that you can put everything and anything into this track. And then as you develop the track more and you flesh it out, then you can start to remove some of the limitations so you can add more to the track. But starting from a place of limitation or a place of intention is a great way to get ideas onto the screen faster. How often do you open your computer, plug in your guitar, and you start struggling to come up with a riff to start your song with? Probably every time. It might be worth starting your writing in a completely different way. For example, you might want to start with drums. You can come up with a groove for your track and then add the guitars on top. And that might come up with something different. Or you may do all the background work like the ambience and the pianos and synths or whatever, and then try and find a vibe, and then you build your guitars off that and your drums and then build the track from there. A favorite of mine is to write all of your guitar riffs in MIDI on a piano or whatever, and then try and work out how to play them on the guitar after. Often you'll come up with something cool because the riffs might not actually be playable the way you've written them on the piano roll. Methods like these can get you out of a rut and get the ideas flowing again. Okay, I think that's all I've got for you. Hope that helps.